the key to putting this in is to do it the way you took it out, right? That's like something a YouTuber would say, is say something really smart. Like that. That's probably how I took it out. Literally, I was putting it in the opposite direction. Did we blow all the cobwebs out of this first?
Hey guys, I'm Sam Crack, aka Jimmy Bondo, and if I can fix this broken Aston Martin, really anyone can. And just as important as making this car drive again is making it drive at a price that actually makes sense. This clean title V8 Vantage only cost $25,000 at auction. Well, it came broken, and its main problem turned out to be a burned out clutch, something a professional shop would easily charge north of $8,000 alone to fix. Now, while we were taking everything apart to get to that clutch, we found a busted rear valance, torn CV boot, worn throwout bearing, smashed oil cooler, and some shoddy paintwork on the front bumper. Now try and calculate what all that would cost to be repaired at a dealer, and you would easily exceed the purchase price of a nice used example of one of these. The real deal breaker on these cars are their intense part prices. If you compare this V8 Vantage to a Corvette of the same year, it's actually a really similar package. Both have front engine V8s with a transaxle in the back, and both have around 400 horsepower. But since one has a more prestigious badge on it, the parts literally cost, in some cases, 20 times more. Like this little fitting here that cost $115. I unfortunately made this rookie move, and on pretty much every single car I've done any extensive work with, I've made multiple mistakes, and I paid to get out of every single one of them. But if I paid $115 for this fitting, I'd feel more like I was getting robbed and less like I was being fined.
I turned the fitting the wrong way here, breaking off some of the thread in the throwout bearing. Now the bearing's not a big deal because we replaced it with a brand new one. What is a problem is the fitting itself. I figured this couldn't cost much. Now this fitting right here, the O-ring side, inserts into this hard line here. Now this is like a hard line you'd find on any sort of car with a bleeder on the end of it, like you'd find in a brake system. So when we call Aston Martin, you heard $115, and that's just for this guy. You don't get the entire hose assembly for that. I looked everywhere for this fitting, and I couldn't find it anywhere but Aston Martin, so instead of trying to repair this or replace it, we're just going to replace our entire remote bleeder with a remote bleeder off a Corvette. Yeah, I went to the auction and bought an entire Corvette, and I pulled this bleeder line off it. No, I'm just kidding. This is an aftermarket remote line bleeder, a very popular upgrade for Corvettes, Camaros, and Mustangs, and it's a universal fit. But since it's a universal fit, this port here will not fit into the port in our throwout bearing. So just went online, found this adapter. This adapter was like $6. The remote bleeder line was $25. So for 31 bucks, what we're gonna do is take this. The adapter is a perfect match for the bleed side of our throwout bearing. And like I said, these are universal fit, so it actually has a fitting in there. And we're gonna take the one out here. And now this AN fitting will thread perfectly onto our adapter. Now once this is all installed in the car, I hope to be able to reuse this bracket on our stock fitting to be able to bolt it into a place and make it look factory. Now, even though I totally broke that fitting, $31 is a pretty painless solution to replace that clutch line. I've been really fortunate throughout this build to hardly have to shop Aston Martin for any of the parts. It's kept the price really low. But there's one last problem I wanted to bring to your attention because someone out there might be able to help me with this, especially the locksmiths out there watching. A problem that came with the car. Now, if we look right here at the keyhole, I believe they call this a lock barrel or a lock cylinder. That's located inside the door panel there, and you would use this, say that your battery died and your your remote wasn't working because of it. So the key that goes in this lock barrel or cylinder looks like this. Now I know that they use this style key blade on like a Jaguar because my old S-Type had this same exact style. Maybe they also used it on a Volvo, but it's not your standard regular looking key. It's not even a laser cut key. And if we come around to the other side, if you guys remember from the video when I picked the car up, it's missing the lock cylinder or barrel. I've opened the door, I've looked in the door panel, it is nowhere to be found in there. You would think it would just fall down. You know, somebody took it apart, took it out of the car, and it is gone. So I think the main concern here is just filling the hole in the passenger side door in a natural looking way. If a Jaguar or Volvo key barrel actually fit in the same place, well, that'd be awesome. My Aston Martin key probably wouldn't work, but we do have the driver's door as our fail-safe. Now, the locksmiths watching, is this something where you can actually replicate or modify a stock part to fit my key? Again, it's got that really strange key. So whatever you guys know about this, let me know in the comment section. Obviously, I like to stay away from the dealer as much as I can. That's been the name of this project. We've done a lot of modest repairs and had really good results with them and stuck to a really tight budget. But sometimes I wonder, What if there was no budget?
I might wake up in this Miami dream home, take the elevator down to one of its 7 bedrooms. Well, first I'd probably have to use one of the 6 bathrooms and step outside and enjoy the Florida sunrise while lounging under its covered porch. This incredible house is valued at around $2.6 million, but Omaze is giving you the chance at living your Miami dreams and winning it when you visit omaze.com/samcrack.
I got on my South Florida shades. I'm repping the Panthers. I might be a bit biased, but I think South Florida is one of the best places in the world to reside. But in the case that you like where you currently live, don't worry, there's a cash option available as well. Omaze will give you $1.8 million. And it gets better. If you enter by October 1st, you'll be automatically entered to win a brand new BMW Z4 M40i. This Z4 contains the successor to the legendary N54, N55 platform. They're really quick and you can make them even quicker with some light mods. I love this car and it just looks incredible. So to enter for your chance to win the Miami Dream Home giveaway, visit omaze.com/samcrack or just click the link in the description box. And while you're there, you'll be given the opportunity to help support an amazing cause. In this case, it's Make-A-Wish America.
Famously known for making amazing dreams come true for brave children diagnosed with critical illness.
Again, that's at omaze.com/samcrack. And I gotta give a huge thanks to Omaze for supporting great foundations, offering this opportunity to my audience, and also for sponsoring this video. Good luck. Sage, bro, I think I understand why everybody's telling us to get a lift at this point.
Oh yeah.
I think we're kidding ourselves. All right. Well, we've got a bunch of the screws already lined up. The torque tube is in. It's being propped up in the back by a jack. And we do have multiple jack stands all around. So this part, there's not a lot of moving and shaking. I'm gonna have Sage just tighten these in by hand slowly all around. And then transaxle goes back in.
All right, if you see this oil cooler, it's pretty crushed up here. So we're gonna go ahead and drain the oil so we can take that out and replace it.
Now, even though our oil cooler was really dented in, it wasn't leaking any oil, but something that's pushed in this far is definitely going to restrict the flow of the oil through the cooling passages, especially in the lower rows of the cooler itself. And an oil system's under a lot of pressure. If you think about it, say that you had that similar situation on a radiator and your radiator let loose. Well, you're gonna lose coolant and then your car's dashboard is gonna tell you you're out of coolant and then you're gonna start to overheat. So you're gonna have a few warnings before you do any really bad damage to your engine. But if you've got an oil system with a blockage, you could have a major issue. Say that pressure is put somewhere else in the system and it lets loose a line, or it ends up breaking the cooler at one point. That pressure inside the oil system is likely going to gush oil out. It's not just going to leak, and if you lose a lot of oil in a quick fashion, well, you're going to end up burning up the engine itself. So this could cause catastrophic damage if not tended to, and again, it just needs to be made right. Now you see this oil cooler, it's not really big, so again, unassumingly, I went to Aston Martin and said, how much do you want for one of these? They wanted well over $2 grand. I went online, there's a used one for sale for around $2,000 plus a few $100 shipping from out of the country. And while I'm well aware there's a bunch of companies that make all different sizes of oil coolers, the big problem here is if you look at the fittings on this cooler, they're gigantic. I've never seen one this big, so matching that or even finding an adapter for this will be really, really difficult. Now remember, there's this great company out of Texas called Bell, and they make all sorts of coolers, and they make them small and big for really like any custom project, and that's all they do is custom coolers. So I called them up, told them about my Aston Martin situation. I wanted to make sure this is like a real solution that anybody could reach out to Bell and get this done. They said, absolutely, this is what we do, send it in to us and we'll let you know what we can do. And Jonathan, one of the design engineers at Bell, was kind enough to actually record the process of replicating my oil cooler for the Aston Martin, all while saving me well over $1,000. Here, check it out.
All right, Sam Crack. So I wanted to give you and your audience a bit of a breakdown of what we do here. So we do custom intercoolers, manufacturing, intercoolers, oil coolers, radiators, heat exchangers, you name it. So we do a fair bit of that. We also do what is actually called a core exchange. Probably what's actually going to fit best for your case for your Aston Martin's oil cooler. What that consists of is reusing these tanks here. Sometimes we call these manifolds. And we'll actually weld them up to a new core, pressure test them, make sure brackets are either remade or rescued. This one probably is going to be a redo. Just depends what we see when we get it into the welding booth and figuring out what's necessary to give you the best product while actually being something pretty economical. Now for cores, we have a couple of options here. I'm going to show you in the audience just really what we offer in terms of core exchanges. We can do air-to-air, liquid-to-air, oil coolers, radiators, you name it. So this core here, this is our air-to-air core. It's our kind of our standard configuration. Not really ideal for oil coolers. These passages are pretty wide, so pressure drop gets pretty prevalent. This is our liquid air core. We typically use these for oil coolers and charge air coolers as well. They're pretty great. I don't really have sizes actually for your application that fit this quite well, but I have the next best alternate for you guys. So this is an extruded tube core. This one's real nice. It's real heavy duty. It's actually great for oil coolers. It's got small passages, so pressure drops minimized, and performance is actually pretty good with these. We dig these a lot. Now these aren't exactly the same thing that we're going to put in your application, but we'll use something similar, and we can fabricate to make sure that all connection points retain the same center to center, mounting up where you need it to be. Alrighty, Sam, we're getting ready to work on this oil cooler for you. We're going to be cutting these tanks off. We're going to be working on cutting these seams just so we can maintain the original tank size. Now what's interesting about your core here is actually this measured out to 19 inches flattened out. We only have an 18-inch core, so we're going to do some modifications to maintain the length while still making sure the core doesn't leak or anything like that. Okay, Sam, so Dino got ahead of us, and we're actually already almost done with this thing. He's going to be working on the brackets here. Dino, you can go ahead and weld it up, man.
There you go, Sam.
And just delivered a few moments ago, our built-to-spec Bell oil cooler. The best part about this is that it's plug and play, because they went and they made exact duplicates of the brackets in the same exact orientation as they were on my old cooler. Last thing we gotta do is just tighten up our fittings in the back of the cooler. It's funny, whenever we were removing the original damaged unit out of the car, I didn't have a wrench big enough to take it out. I had to go and buy this massive thing. Look at it compared next to just my regular ratchet here. This is really big, but it's necessary for the job. this little oil cooler is actually a huge piece to our Aston Martin puzzle, because without it, we couldn't fill our engine back up with oil, give it its first startup after being all apart, and see how well our new Kevlar clutch works, which we should install our Transaxle before we do all that. But this is another efficient and very cost-effective solution to our luxury or exotic car tax problem that we've been facing with our Aston Martin. I told you earlier, a replacement oil cooler from Aston is around $2,000, but Bell's cost for this one right here is right around $1,000. It's all new metal, and just check out these welds. Dino is the man. Now, from the start of this project, I've been pretty hard on this car and Aston Martin as a brand, but slowly this project has become one of my favorites because it's allowed me to collaborate with guys like Bell and guys like Kentucky Clutch that have pretty straightforward solutions to common issues on cars. And it shows how really anybody can do this. Again, a plug and play solution that is an upgrade to what we had. At less than half the cost, it just makes all the sense in the world. I want to thank the guys at Bell for taking the time to video the process for me. And whether you're like me and just want to avoid the Aston Martin tax, or you've got a custom project at home and need a cooler of any type built for it, make sure you check out Bell. I'm going to drop all their information in the description box. Now, let's finally get that Transaxle back in place.
We could literally just play the original footage of me taking this out in reverse, and people would not know the difference. But we're not a channel like that, Sage. We do things with integrity. And hey, Alex.
Yeah.
Alex Palmieri from Legitstreetcars. Can you do me a favor and just lower the jack just a smidgen, as you would say?
We're on jack stands, right? We're doing this properly?
100%. And I even got an extra safety one.
I don't know how I feel about lowering a car while you're underneath.
No, it's not lowering the car. It's lowering just this.
Oh, okay.
Just this.
Just trying to be safe. Ready?
Okay, yeah, just a smidgen. What, you've had a career as a mechanic.
Okay, is that a smidge?
Yes.
That's a good smidge?
At Mercedes-Benz and a bunch of other places. What other word would you use, like smidgen? Is there another form of slang you might use instead of smidgen?
Yeah, I would probably just say a little head hair.
A little
head hair more.
Okay.
Hey Sam, I know you're on a budget, and I found some coins under the car.
Yeah, that's my buddy Mike. He's got lots of coins, and he likes to leave them for me.
Well, we could put this towards the budget of the Aston. This will get you something.
We could. Okay, now here's the thing. I slid this thing out like nothing, and I'm turning it. Maybe now we got to jack it up a little bit to make sure it's straight with the splines and the clutch there.
It should be straight right now because the torque tube is fully bolted in, right?
So it's fully bolted in, yes.
Yeah, it shouldn't matter really what angle this is
Okay,
at. We
so
might
just
just need to give it a little
tap.
Not a tap, but here, let me see. Sometimes you just got to give it a shake turn. Look at this.
Where did this guy even come from? He doesn't even live anywhere around here.
There's a cheap flight, so I just figured I'd do some sightseeing here in beautiful Florida.
Just two dudes jiggling a shaft under a car.
Yep. I say you don't even need the jack.
Let's jiggle a little bit more to the left, I think. I'm kidding. I don't know which way it goes.
You know, I gotta say, people gave you a lot of crap for the panel bond on the Ferrari.
Yeah.
This thing is just all a bunch of pieces panel bonded together.
Yeah.
Look at that.
A lot of panel bond on this car. It is, and they use a special red type that costs 4 times as much as a regular expensive panel bond.
It's like orange high temp RTV.
It does.
Is what they used. Oh, this is crazy. Okay, this isn't working out.
What did I do wrong? The only reason it would stop is if the clutch is out of alignment.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I used a really good clutch alignment tool. So I am using this makeshift one right here. This is a 3/8 extension, the 3/8 13 millimeter socket that fits snugly in here. We're going to sit it just like so. And you can see it is not the most convenient way to align a clutch, but it should work. We were jiggling that shaft for a while and it would not go in. So basically that drive shaft runs through the length of the torque tube and should go into the clutch there where we made our makeshift clutch alignment tool, and that might have caused the problem here. If it did, we're gonna have to take this torque tube out again. You know, it's not the end of the world, but it probably will add at least an hour to the job. But Alex has an idea, and it's definitely worth a shot because it's something that has to be done either way.
After we're done bleeding the clutch system, which we have to do anyway, I'm gonna have Sam push the clutch pedal in, which is gonna disengage the clutch,
And sometimes you can get the transmission, or in this case, a drive shaft through a torque tube. You can get that to spline into the clutch if it's not being held to the pressure plate. So it'll give us just enough play to get it through. And in this case, Sam didn't use the Aston Martin clutch alignment tool, so it could just be off a tiny little bit, and this will save us from needing to take the entire torque tube off again, which involves removing the driver's side header, and it's a ton of work. And it might work. I've had it work before in the past. It's definitely worth a shot.
Just so you can see right now, the clutch, watch. It literally just goes to the floor. Now, Alex, how are we going to bleed this if the clutch just goes to the floor? And you said there's fluid in the reservoir. I mean, there's none in the lines.
There's air in the lines.
A ton.
Yeah, so that's why it's going right to the floor. There's no resistance or anything.
How do I pump that though? Is it going to pump? Well, once you open the lines, it's going to push the air out. Got it.
Yeah, it's going to take a few tries in the beginning where it's going to feel like we're doing nothing, and then the fluid's going to start to flow, and then you'll feel resistance. Yeah.
You think that cock can help you out back there?
Probably. Yeah.
All right.
He hasn't attacked me yet, so that's good.
Okay, so let's do this. I got the .4.
Yeah.
LV, of course, the Louis Vuitton edition, and I'm gonna get in here and pump this.
Yeah, this isn't totally empty. It doesn't really take that much fluid either.
Okay.
The clutch
cool.
system. It's not much.
So go.
Let's top this up first, and then I'll get underneath.
Sage, could you just do me a favor and get the brake fluid? It's right there on the chair.
We'll top this up, and then I'll get underneath there, and we're just gonna pretend these are
Make
brakes.
yourself useful, Sage.
Yeah, that's right.
Got it. All right.
All right, good job. All right,
Alex
I'm
has
going-
a flight to catch. Oh, where are you going?
I'm going under. What?
Oh, you're going under.
Going down under.
Jeez, you're going down. I'm pumping, and then hopefully the shaft fits perfectly afterward.
All right, Sam. So we got fluid in there, right, Sage? Do I pour it all in?
No, not you. Just pour it.
Well, just top it up until you start to see it.
Yes, until you start to see it. I just echo the real mechanic here, okay? Like a parrot. I'm gonna pump.
Right.
Here we go.
And then, all right, you all the way down?
I mean, it's literally just like an on-off
Okay, well,
switch.
don't do that. Just push it all the way down.
Okay?
Okay. Now go up. All right, go all the way down. And up. So this is really nice with the remote bleeder. I can do this all by hand. So Sam, go ahead and go down with the pedal. And now go up. Go down again. And then I close the valve when he goes up so we don't suck air in. Are you up?
Up.
Okay. Go down. And up. All right, we're going to do this probably 10 more times to make sure this is fully bled. And then we should be able to disengage that clutch.
All right, that pumping of the pedal up and down was going real slow, and it was making just a very minor change in the pedal, so we broke out the pressure bleeder, and it bled the line in literally seconds. Alex took care of business, thank you very much. Well, I was cooking the first rooster. Now the second rooster knows I'm cooking the first rooster, and he's going crazy. So now we have a clutch. And again, Alex, I don't mean to keep you in suspense, but the theory is, this is Alex's theory, that maybe, again, this is like a 5% chance, 10% chance, that if we push the clutch, it's going to disengage the clutch and move it just enough for you to slide the shaft.
Exactly. So sometimes if it releases, and it's not splined perfectly originally, then you can get it to go in. It's a low chance, but we had to bleed it anyway, so it's worth a shot.
All right, let's see. I'm going to push the clutch. Here we go. Oh, pushing.
Yep.
No way.
So we're so close. It snapped in. I thought we were good, but we have to go in just a little bit more. Sam, go ahead and push that clutch down.
Going down.
It's gonna go. It's gonna go. There we go.
No way.
That's it, baby. We got it.
Clutch. We got a drive shaft. We got to put a transmission and stuff.
We got the drive shaft in, so if you guys ever have problems lining up your transmission after you do a clutch, in this case, a torque tube with the drive shaft, try pushing the clutch in, and you have to bleed it out first because otherwise you won't disengage anything. So anyway, we're in without having to take the torque tube out.
Alex, you want to do the bigger or smaller snap ring first?
Let's do the big guy first.
All right, so if you want to do the big guy, you were making fun of my tools earlier. Look, I have a 4-piece snap ring set, and you've got those ones right there. Those are the ones you need to push those in, I think, and I think the small one you need to push out.
Yeah.
So basically we took these out, but the snap ring just assures that that thing will never move out.
Yeah, and if we have it at the proper distance, this should fit right in, which it is. It's perfect. Yeah, it's in there.
Is it? Yeah, it is. Check it
No,
out.
it's all the way. It's all the
So
way.
see, it just sits right over the lip of that.
And just to be sure, we can give it a couple. Yep.
Watch out for that carbon fiber. I'm kidding. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. No, we're good. We're good.
Oh, and now the second one. This
Oh, yeah.
this snap ring just needs to sit on that lip right there. And so see, look, 4-piece snap ring. It sounds like I'm on the Home Shopping Network. Look at this 4-piece.
is nice.
We're only showing 2 of the 4 pieces. Snap ring plier set. Alex was making fun of my tools
You
earlier.
stepped it up in the last couple of years.
See, my problem is that all my tools like stay outside. Oh my! Look at it! Look at how Alex just has that finesse. I was messing with that for about 3 minutes.
Really?
Transmission's ready to go on, dude.
Yeah. Exactly.
And we got a clutch.
We got a clutch that's bled and it works. The pedal feels amazing. I think it's practically done.
And we've got an very high quality oil filter, I might say as well. Well, you laughed. You have anything to say about that?
The oil filter, you got to cut some open and show everybody the difference.
On the video where we pulled the transmission out of the Aston Martin, some of the commenters pointed out something really, really important, something I didn't see. And while you're under the car, and even when I'm reviewing the footage and especially editing it, looking at a little screen, if you're not paying super close attention, you'll just miss stuff like this. But actually, when we were prying the transmission out of place, you could see the jack stands move a little bit, almost rock back and forth. And I know everybody is calling for me to get a lift, and I don't disagree with you. I want a lift. I just need an appropriate place to put it, and I promise you I'm working on that. But you just opening my eyes to, hey, those jack stands are rocking underneath you. It did freak me out a little bit, I gotta be honest. We do have a couple extra supports in the middle of the car, and we do have a jack usually at all times pressing on the area that we're working on, just as like an extra fail-safe. But I don't want to have to deal with the thought of any of these things failing. And again, I'm so appreciative for you guys to point this out to me because it's just something that was overlooked. Now, when you're setting up a car on jack stands, they tell you to do something called the bump test. That's where you just come over to the side of the car here and you use your hip and you bump it a little bit. And I think that's kind of emulating what we were doing, putting some force on the underside of the car, shaking it a little bit to make sure, you know, it's not going to fall off those jack stands. So frankly, again, I don't want to even think about any movement of the car while we're working underneath. I want everything to remain. The back of the transmission wants to rub on the back of the subframe just a tiny bit. It's something that could be tilted, no problem. However, since you guys pointed out what you did in the previous video, I don't want there to be any sudden motions, any sudden movements. And this job pretty much has to be complete on jack stands at this point. So I want to get a third body in place that's going to help us really tilt things slowly, have someone with eyes on it, and just make sure everything goes in a right and safe place. Once it's back in, we're a couple fluids away from driving this car, and I can't wait for that. If you can't wait either, be sure to hit that like button. Also, I've got one sort of thing that I'm really excited to show you. I made contact with the previous owner. He's a really nice guy, and let's just say he provided me with a handful of parts. And again, I'll be showing you in the next video. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you do that down below. And also, if you're not already following me on Instagram, where I post most of the updates to the Aston Martin, all the other car projects there before anything goes live here, well, just go right here or click the link in the description box. Guys, thank you so much for watching today, and I'll catch you very soon.